From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Steve Milton.
It's Thursday, June 20th. This is Ticats Today, and this is also the summer solstice. And I'm Steve Milton. With the Tiger Cats heading to Saskatchewan for Sunday's rematch of last Sunday's wrenching 33-30 loss. Well, they hope that the loss isn't a rematch. It's the replay that'll be the rematch to the Riders at Tim Hortons Field. Today, we're going to zoom in on the secondary. We'll talk to veteran defensive halfback Richard Leonard and head coach Scott Milanovich about the pluses and minuses, and spoiler alert here, there are no minuses, of having the same five people starting together back there for the first time this season. And we'll visit with rookie receiver Shemar Bridges. Now, Bridges made an unbelievable over-the-defender's shoulder catch in practice yesterday and was spot on in clearing space for Tim White today and handling the ball well when Bo Levi Mitchell, himself having another strong practice, found him open. And it was obvious from even high above the field that their defensive secondary has been more in sync. There are a lot of new faces on defense, and it helps to have some units working together and communicating with each other back-to-back, so it's fortuitous that for the first time this year that the same five Cats will start in what is literally the last line of defense. That's Stavros Katsantonis at safety, flanked by defensive half Kenneth George Jr. and cornerback Jamal Peters on the boundary side of the field, and Richard Leonard and corner Dexter Lawson Jr. on the field or the wide side.
I think it's particularly important when you're dealing with zone coverages and adjustments. What the guy next to you is going to do and the adjustments he's going to make, I think, are critical. And that's why I think it's so important. Man, defense doesn't really matter, right? You're locked on your guy and doing your thing. But as much zone as most teams in the CFL play, I think that's part of the critical nature of having some continuity in that unit.
Leonard, a 2019 CFL All-Star and three-time East Conference Select, is in his third year in his current tenure in the secondary since returning from a couple of years in Calgary, where he went as a free agent after his first 3 years in Hamilton. He's not the tallest at 5'8", but he plays big, and he plays smart, and he can play anywhere. He's often played with a different combination of backfielders beside him and agrees it's advantageous to enjoy some continuity game to game back there.
It makes a lot of difference just having everybody on the same page, just knowing each other. Like, when you switching up, then it's kind of hard to, understand what each other doing. But if you have, the same 5, the same 6 guys, it makes it easy because now we getting the rhythm and getting to know each other each game, each practice.
We're going to extend Leonard's stay in this segment as part of our mission to make sure Ticat fans get to know a little more about the players they're rooting for. So here's Leonard on the role of being a veteran on a team where there are a lot of new and young pros. He's a quiet man, but when he talks in the locker room or to the media, his words carry weight.
I'm still learning because, when I came in, I was always the young guy, so now I'm the older guy now. So I'm just learning to, how can I talk to the players? How would they take it? Just showing them my experience that I had, and it's a long season. So, you might have your mistakes right now, but, you just got to make sure you correct them each week.
It's been 2 games, and yes, the Ticats are 0-2. They also don't have any takeaways on defense. The defense, Scott Milanovich said, was greatly improved Game 1 over Game 2, but he said they have to be stiffer in the fourth quarter, which is clearly true. Leonard was asked if the defense, the secondary in particular, learned anything from that defensive late drive from Trevor Harris, which tied the game as they marched over 80 yards in less than a couple of minutes after being 2nd and 17 from their own 15-yard line. Is there anything the secondary can draw from that can help them this game?
I say we learned a lot. We got to play a little tighter. We just, we got to make plays. We got to make our plays when it's time. We had chances to end the game, and we didn't end it. So we look at that in film and just know, we have to finish, because if we finished, then the game would have been over with, 1 or 2 interceptions during that drive.
Moving to the other side of the ball, I want to cast us all back to rookie camp when on the very first day, we mentioned a receiver who was standing out from the rest. And he continued to stand out when the veterans reported to regular camp. He stood out in the preseason game and for the most part in the opening 2 regular season games. Shemar Bridges out of Fort Valley State leads the Tiger Cats with 13 catches, which is tied for 4th in the CFL after the opening 2 weekends. And he's 7th overall with 157 receiving yards.
No, I'm not surprised at all. I know the work that I put in to be able to make plays in the game. So not surprised. I actually want to do way better. You know what I mean? I feel like there's things I can always improve in both games and continue forward. But I got a great team, great coaches around me. So just taking steps every week, getting better and better. So yeah.
This is not a must-win by any means. It's too early. Teams and coaches never say that because what's your next step if you don't win after the third game and you still have 15 more to go? I generally subscribe to Orlando Steinhauer's theory that the only must-wins are the games that can formally eliminate you. But there are need-to-win games, and the Ticats are the only team in the East without a win, and you can't let the division get too far ahead of you. Tonight, somebody's going to win between the Red Blacks and Alouettes in Montreal. Of course, somebody's going to lose, too. But the Cats can't do anything about that game. They can do something about their own game on Sunday night. Bridges says there's an upside to immediately playing the same team you lost to, even if it means venturing right into the den of the lion.
Yeah, you want to get back as quick as possible. And we talked about it at very rarely in life, and especially in professional sports, do you have a chance to do it the very next week. So we're ready. We're gonna be ready, and we're just gonna capitalize and learn from things we didn't do last week, and we're just gonna keep getting better. No, we got everything we need right here. We got everything we need. We got all the players, all the pieces. We just got to execute and finish at the end. And you just got in these situations, you just can't stop the process. Just keep trucking along the process, and we'll figure it out. I have no doubt or worry or nothing. We're gonna get it together.
It's not something we've tend to dwell upon, but it's definitely worth mentioning that the Ticats have 6 Canadians on the 6-game injury list. That's receivers Brendan O'Leary Orange and Luther Hakanavanu, rookie defensive lineman Luke Brubaker, offensive lineman Dayton Black, and linebackers Nick Cross and Enoch Maconzo. O'Leary Orange looked really good in the first game, and the loss of Maconzo impacted the defensive lineup because he was brought in after ratio-breaking Canadian linebacker Jordan Williams suddenly retired in early May. And Maconzo was signed after being released by Edmonton with an eye to being able to use him to help the ratio situation on defense. But he's done for the season with an injury in training camp. And injuries don't just affect the starting 24. They actually take more of a toll on special teams because of the trickle-down effect. And we had Milanovich address that.
We don't look back, right? So that's the furthest thing from my mind right now. Okay. We have who we have. Every team in this league is going to go through situations where there are injuries. It happens to every team every single year. Hopefully this is our time. And in the meantime, you don't pack it in and use it as an excuse. That's what these guys are here for a reason. I told them that when we brought training camp, that they're here because we believe they can play and help us win. And there won't be any excuses for it. Yeah, I don't think it's specific, though, to just Canadian players. It's,
right.
Anytime you have injuries, somebody has to step into that role. And very often, if it is a guy that's a special teams player, then there's 2 changes. There might be a change on offense, and then somebody has to take that guy's special teams spot, too.
It's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere when the sun is the highest in the sky, so let's finish on the sunny side of football life here. And it doesn't get much sunnier than the legendary Simone Lawrence, the team's special ambassador, who watched today's practice in the press box with a trio of us, including CHML's Rick Zamperin, voice of the Ticats, RJ Broadhead, and myself. I've learned a lot about football listening to Simone for the past decade. I'm hoping that this kind of informal roundtable, mostly his round, can become a more regular thing. It's not often in life that you get smarter and understand more about what you're watching at the same time as your stomach is hurting from laughing so hard. You can get a taste of exactly what I mean by watching and listening to Simone Lawrence and his former teammate Courtney Stephen break things down Sunday and every game day in Tiger Cats Game Day on the Ticats Audio Network. It's worth the investment. And thanks for your investment in us today. Please join us for tomorrow's episode as the Ticats wrap up full practice for the week before heading to Saskatchewan on Saturday morning. This has been Ticats Today, and I'm Steve Milton.
This has been Ticats Today with Steve Milton. Catch it on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.